Hello and welcome to this presentation of the theme texture change script in its version 2. So first we are going to explore this object. If we click on the table, we find the usual features. We can change the legs individually if we want, for example to black. We can change the top if we want, for example, to dark brown. We can go up, we can close the menu. So this works just like the first version worked. in that sense, it has not changed much, but it also has changed quite a bit. So we have now this chair here, and we see that if we click on it, we can sit on it. But first, let's right click, select touch, and we get the texture menu just the same. So this is one difference with respect to the previous version. We could not get this menu if we were sitting, and if we got this menu, we would not get when sitting. Now it doesn't matter. We can get the menu whether we're sitting or not. We can decide that it's possible to have the menu only when sitting or having the menu regardless. So we see that we find this close button when we are not sitting. But now let's sit. And when we sit and go to the adjust menu and we go to the textures, what we find is that we can go back to UV sitter. We have this button instead of the close button that was here. The close button has now moved here. So now we go back to UV sitter and let's explore this new feature. So now we are in this chair back pose, and look at this. We select seat 1, I think it's seat 1, and the seat changes the color. We select seat 2, and now it's the chair that changes the color. We select seat 3, and it goes back to the default setup. And if we select weight, same thing. So this is one of the new features. This is the poses add-on. We can select which poses will change a theme, and if we are not in any of those poses, we can select a default theme and it will be applied to our object. So now that we have seen this, let's move on to another of the new features. So we have here these two items. They're the same, they're textured differently, and the first thing that I want to note here is that this object has, as usual, the T blocks in the description, but this other object has the T blocks in the name. And if we use the T blocks in the name, they have to be in all the prims. So what good is this for? Well, if you are using door systems like Unidor or Cool Door, you know that you need the full description for the rotation, position, etc. data that those scripts use. So in those cases, you can use the name feature that the script now has. And setting this up is as simple as coming here. Let's wait for loading contents. Go here to the configuration node card, and this parameter is set to 0. So read prim desk, if it's set to 0 will read the name. If it's set to 1, it will read the description. Now, there was one feature that was highly requested. What if this is a set showing in a store? And we have customers that make something like find the ugliest theme. Let's see, the console set to green, and the mirror set to, I don't know, orange, and the lamps set to blue, and the home word set to dark blue, and something like that. What if we don't want to have this combination of colors forever? Well, we can select a new parameter here in the configuration node card. Again, let's wait for the contents to load here. And in here, when it says demo mode, if we set this to 1, after 60 seconds, it will load this theme. It's called AO theme in this case. So we save, the script reloads, and after it reloads, and after a minute, this will change. So while this changes, let's continue changing textures here. So, well, we have tray, we can change this to black, we can change the candles to orange or to nude, or get back them to red, or we can change all the things we were used to. And we can see that we have here lamps, which changes both lamps, and we can change each lamp individually. So the themes affect to all the prims we want. And look at this. The demo theme that we wanted has been applied after a minute. So now we have this as we want it to look in our store. And after we have seen this feature, we are going to another of the new features here. So let's check this table. It's not a fancy table, but it's a table that will show us the dress prop add-on. So we start by changing the color, or we select one theme. After we select one theme, we can sit on here, and now if this pose, for example, dresses a prop, the prop will apply the last theme that we have selected. So we go here, the prop presses, and immediately changes the theme so it coincides with this one. And there's one important thing here. Since the top and the leg themes are separated, if we change the legs and we change the top, when we raise the prop, it will only change the last theme, because it cannot know if the whole configuration that we like has 1, 2, 3, or 10 themes. So it will only apply the last. If we want that the whole table is changed, we will build a theme for the whole table, and that will be replicated here. And if now go to the Adjust menu and select Texture, if we select the dark brown top, it changes in both at the same time. If we select green, it changes to green. If we select white, it changes to white. And same with the legs. If we change the legs to dark brown, then both change to the same. They keep the themes synchronized. So this is another of the new features. Now we select a different pose and the prop disappears. So that's it for this new add-on. Another one of the new features is that we can have separated objects like a swing. Let's see, we select local here and now we rotate it here. We can have our swing. This prim is usually separated from the rest of the swing because it makes it easier to rotate, but normally if we have this separated and we change the texture of this one wouldn't change. So now this is possible in this version. If we click here for the menu and we select swing light, then all the swing changes the texture. Swing white and everything is changed. And if we click on the legs, it happens the same. We get the menu. These ones are objects that are listening to the same channel, so that's something we have to take into account when setting up this. So we have closed those menus, and now we've seen that when we click on the legs we get the menu, and we can also change everything. If we select light, it goes to light. And let's click again to see what happened before. So we click here and we get 1, 2, and 3 menus. So this one is from an object that has similar setup than this, and same with this one, and then this is our menu. So this is something that we have to take into account when we set up our objects. We will need to adjust certain parameters so we don't have situations like this happening. All that is explained in the documentation. So we close here, we close here, close here, and now that we have seen this other example, let's get into this nice house, which has been kindly donated by Porumak, which I hope I have spelled correctly. Porumak and its owner, Winter Lovesley. So we get here into the house. I'm sorry because I am a bit clumsy when it comes to moving. And we have this kitchen. It's a very nice kitchen. So one of the things that shows the kitchen is that if we click here, we get this menu, which is the UV menu. It's from a visitor. If we select this plate coffee, then it should press. Oh yes, it's here. It presses here a prop. we can clean up. The prop is no longer here, and we can add a button that opens the texture change menu. So we can select, for example, black, and things start to change. And we see that all the metallic appliances are changing to black, but not the cabinets. So that's again one of the features that the script has. It can change the whole objects together, or you can define separate things for some of the parts. That's entirely up to you. And you can even create themes that cover everything and create themes that only cover some parts. Now notice this up button. This is not the standard up button that the script offers. This has been customized by, well, the customer. And if we click this particular app, we go back to the OB menu. So that's something else that we can customize in our script. Usually people will write here back to a visitor, but you can write anything you like. As long as you are within the 24 bytes that are allowed for the buttons, you are good to go. So just don't write long names for the buttons. Indeed, if they are more than 10, 12 characters, they are not going to be seen here. So there's no point in writing long numbers. And now that we have seen the kitchen, well, we can see also the cabinets. The cabinets also are within our AV menu. There are things to press here, coffee station. Here it is. Canisters. They will rest somewhere. Here they are. We can clean up, and again the same texture menu, cabinets, black wood. Everything changes to black, 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 black. And then we have seen that the counters can also change. Let's see if this number 2, no, this number 2 is the same. Number 4, this is different. You can name the themes as you like. Just remember, 24 characters maximum. And if we wanted, we could have another button here that said cabinets and counters, and where we would offer a range of themes that we would like to have with combinations of these two, the cabinets and the counters. So let's close this, and now let's move into the rooms. Now, well, first let's look at this button. This is a textures button, and this textures button is within all these. See, this is linked. This is also linked. So this texture button is linked with other buttons that, as we will see, also show texture menus. So we click here for textures, and we can select the floor, the roof. For now we are going to close because now we know how this works. And now let's go to the rooms. The one thing we should have noticed here is that we have gotten just one texture menu. Now we enter here, close the door, or no, let's keep it open. We click here and we get an AV menu where we can select some furniture for the room. We can clean it up, and then in floors we go to the texture menu and select, I don't know, hardwood 5, and again notice that we have just one menu. We are not getting the floors and roof menu that the other button had, but it has changed this and this. If we select hardwood 3, oh no, this has changed. This is the cool thing. This has changed only this floor. We can change this individually from each of these menus. So if we want to set up a menu only for one room, we can do this, just adding the texture change script into our button or light switch, or however we like to do it. And we go here back to a visitor, and again we are in this menu. So if we go now to the next room, we are going to have the same. We click here, select floors, and we can do white carpet, so that changes this way. Hardwood 1, that changes this way, and this room is not affected, nor it is the rest of the house. So this is just an example of all the many things that we can do with the new texture change. We can use the poses add-on, we can use the rest prop add-on, we can separate everything in areas, we can use the demo mode, we can synchronize objects that aren't linked, and we can do many more things that we can find in the documentation. And also this script has an scripting API. So if you are an scripter, you can communicate with this script and you can do even more interesting programs with it. So this is all to show, let's say the basics of the texture change. So I hope you have liked it.